Hello there, this Kaibaman87 again. This is my second, actually third attempt at this point. People keep interrupting me. But, so... here we go. I want to talk about this. I've already done this twice already. So, and they have, if you have the other versions of the consoles for the PlayStation, you know, the PS4, PS4 Slim, PS4 Pro, just click on the designated article. But the instructions are the same. I have a copy of that here. You just gotta download the firmware. But you gotta there's two versions of the firmware, but you gotta get this one. And if you have Firefox, you can just put it in the downloads folder, and then you can just copy and paste it or cut and paste it into a folder. You know, and you put it on a thumb drive, as the instructions say, and you keep the name as designated. Don't download more than one. If you do, you're gonna have a problem. You may have to rename it. The instructions go over that. Do as much research as you want beforehand. As I've done, as I said, this is the second time I've done this. First time I've done this is when I originally bought the PS4. I got it 6 months after the fact, so I have one of the first versions of it. So for that version, alright, here we go. Oh wait, no! It's this one. So, come on. The one before was a Slim. So, like, the Slim has the tab to open for the hard drive bays, on the side. The one that I have, you know, one of the first ones, which you can get them pre-owned now at GameStop. You just have to slide it sideways. It's like a little minor pressure, not a lot of pressure. It's easier to do it with two hands on both ends, and then just slide it to the side, and then you have to like angle it a little bit upward, and then it allows it to get free. And then there's only one screw, and on the other versions as well, there's 5 in total though. So there's one screw at the end, and then you just take off the 4 that are on the hard drive bays itself, you know, that little metal container that holds the drive, and then you can put in your SSD or new hard drive. At this point, the one that I have had a 500 gig in there. That one, I just ended up giving it to a colleague, one of the hardware colleagues at work at my job, and then he used it for a client. I work in IT, so that's just what we do. And for this installation, what is it? The first time I did it, I had a 1 terabyte hard drive. This time I decided to do it, and I decided to get this Samsung SSD, a 4 terabyte one, because I like to go big or go home. And with this one, it might seem like it's a lot, but if you go back like a year or two ago, this used to be around $3,000. So it is actually a discount, and you know, that way. And all the other versions as well, the 2 terabyte, this used to be $1,000 a year ago, and then 2 years back it used to be 1,200 or 1,300, as I remember. And heck, even these lower ones, these used to be over $100. These used to be over 200. But you know, time, that's just how it is in this industry. Hardware gets cheaper over time. You can't say the same thing about software though. So that's how they get you. You know, if you want to save money, do it with the hardware components. And let's see. So at the time when I did it, the first time I did it, replacing the 500 gig drive that I had by default, and I never ended up using that. I just ended up giving that away, you know. The firmware though that I did at that time was it was like 1.7 if I don't remember. Now at this point it's 7.5, and I think they actually just released a newer one too, which was 7.51. So just make sure that you're current. If you have to back up and do a restore, that's going to be the part that takes the longest time. They don't make that part clear though. I don't know why. The time per gigabyte for me, I had like around 700 some. It was like 740, just about. That I had to put on an external drive, and that took a long time. It was like almost 5 hours. And it's both ways. So it's 5 hours to do the backup, and then 5 hours when you do the restore, literally. So I had to do this late and basically overnight. I just went to sleep, when it was doing the restore part, the restore part. But like the installation of the hard drive is, if you follow the instructions as is, if you want to go through multiple videos, go ahead. But it is relatively quick. And as I said, I have a 4TB Samsung now, the Pro version, or you could even get the Evo version. They're more or less the same thing. So, the only difference is just the cost of them and the capacities, of course. That's going to dictate how much it's going to be. But again, the installation for any of those drives is the same. There were rumors when I did a lot of my research saying that you can't have the rest mode, but I've actually done a rest mode when I was installing one of the newer games through PlayStation Plus, and I put it in rest mode, and it did successfully install everything. I didn't have any hiccup or anything when I installed Battlefront 2. So that I don't know if it was I guess if Sony fixed it at some point. People have reported that it doesn't work with anything beyond 2 terabytes, but it did work for me from the time that I'm seeing this video. I have seen one video. It was with one of those Nikos. Somebody had like an 8 terabyte, I believe, desktop drive. With that Nico device, and like they actually ended up showing that there is no problem with rest mode. But like I don't know, that person put it up for calls like a year or two ago. But like you had to actually search that specific error. So, but it doesn't seem to be a problem now. So I've had my console in rest mode a couple times, and I did do an installation as I said before. But yeah, you can get the first generation ones. Mine I got 6 months after its release. You could actually get those ones. They're pretty cheap now, like GameStop. You get them used. You could also get the slim version if you are looking for a more economical one. Also, if you want them new, if you don't really trust the used ones. But yeah, let me see. I think I already kind of went through everything. But yeah, the installation in total for what is it? When you get your firmware, you put it in that folder, PS4, and then you put it another folder, update. It's in the instructions. Like the whole process, I would say, takes around like 35 to 40 minutes. The only real part that is time consuming is doing the backup, if you have to do that in the restore. But besides that, it's a really simple installation. Just go through other videos. I've done the same thing. There's countless videos at this point that you could look at. So, and I only chose what I chose because nobody has decided to try this particular hard drive when it comes to doing this. I don't know why. People have always done it with one of the other ones, or even, a lower capacity one, which, in my opinion, I don't really understand that. There are people that have swapped out, 1 terabytes for like 250s in the older videos if you look them up, which I didn't really understand why you would do that. But the hard drives at this point, they are down more. So if you look for this Pro version, or also there's this new version too. It's called a QVO drive. You could also do this one, and or the Evos. This is basically the son, or this is like the parent. It's a Pro, so this is like the parent of this one. This one is newer. So, but it's really dependent on you, whatever you want to do. Some say that this has a better lifespan. Some say it's more or less the same. But you know, there's different information out there, so the Samsung drives are the ones that are most reliable for good reason. And that's all I got to say about that. Happy hunting.